Anybody seen Richie? Huh? I'm going to keep coming back here to somebody remember seeing Richie. What is going on? That's right. The Martial Arts Kung Fu Avengers have returned on the 31st episode of Versus. That's how we do it. We got the Kung Fu Santa himself, Rick Myers. That's right. Films of Fury. There's the book. There's the book. The first book I bought. That's right. From Rick himself. The Book of Rick. That's right. He will be reading some pages as you do. And first time on Versus, we have Ian from Retro Serial. That's
Thank
right.
you. Glad to
Welcome,
be here.
my brother. We had fun talking about ninja movies not too long ago. That's right. That was a lot of fun.
That was awesome.
And we got to get the elite. We got to feel the elite. That's right. Action elite. That's right. We have Owen back on here. Welcome, my friend. That's right. And Lindsay, you did the video vote last week, which was awesome, but now you're actually on the stream with us.
Yes,
which is great.
Sort of.
Lindsay Washburn in the house. That's right. Everybody's information's in the description box below, so don't forget to show support and follow everyone and subscribe. That's right. But you know, Lindsay's the homegirl. We got to get her on here because she likes horror and action. That's right. That's how we do it. The Commando phone case sold me.
Yes.
That was it. Commando phone case. I was like, all right, she's one of us. One of us. One of us. Google gobble. Google gobble. Yeah, so, you know. But we're going to get into it here. Who is here from the Movie Dojo Army? We have Lady Danish in the house. John Martinez, Brandon Lewis, Heather Love, Bob Odin's son, Omega 32, Will Thurborn, I Love Food, and the Sexy Sumo. What is going down? All right. Today, we are discussing the man, the legend. That's right. These two movies, when he was in his prime. That's right. Violence, action, excitement. The man himself. Yeah. Steven Seagal. That's right. Two of my favorites of all time. That's why I kind of changed the line up there a little bit. But every time someone asks me, what's your favorite Seagal flick? And I'm always going, hey, it's Under Siege. Come on. And then after that, it's Out for Justice. Come on. You know, I'm always like this. You know, so today it's gonna end. It's gonna be no more of this. I'm gonna make a decision. Samurai Guy's gonna make a decision today. Which one is better? That's right. So let's get into it. Out for Justice came out in 1991. That's right, directed by John Flynn, starring William Forsythe. That's right. And, of course, Seagal. The plot synopsis: the gruesome murder of a Brooklyn detective will turn the case into a personal vendetta when the deceased best friend and fellow officer will unleash an all-out attack against a psychotic mafia enforcer's brutal gang. Yes, this movie was my introduction to William Forsythe. And I absolutely love, I was instantly a fan after that. And I was always like, ooh, William Forsythe's in this movie. Ooh, William Forsythe's in this movie. He is fucking insane in this. He is a maniac. And I love it. It made me a fan. And he was just like, you know, the movie, when it would progress, it would slowly, his character would just slowly start to unravel, and just insanity and him being on drugs and him just being, you know, the biggest douchebag ever. But he's just like, you know, you remember him. You know what I mean? You remember him, and he's just such a memorable villain in this film. He is just crazy. I mean, I'm sure, did it surprise any one of you when that one lady was like honking her horn at him? And she was like, get out of the way. And he just got out and shot her in the head. Like, he just got out, walked over and shot her in the head, and then got back in his car like it was nothing. Like, I was like, yo. We've all wanted to do that at one point. But I'm just like, dude, this guy's insane. But, you know, I love the movie. It's violent, it's gritty, it's brutal, it's badass. You know, Seagal tried to do other accents throughout his career. There's a movie out there. He's failed at them. There's a movie out there, I'm sure Owen knows about it, where he tries to do Russian. Yes, he tries to do a Russian accent throughout the whole movie. This one, for some reason, his his bootleg eye-tie accent in here, the Brooklyn accent, kind of works. I don't know. It just works for this character. I really like the character he plays in this. And when I think of Seagal, I think of this character. So, brutal, badass, love it. The pool fight sequence, I mean, come on. The pool table sequence is just... what I love about that pool table sequence is not just the action, is the build-up to it. Is phenomenal. Like the build-up, you know? You ain't nothing without that badge. Here's your trophy.
Yeah.
Here's your... I mean, it's like it just slowly built. You know, and you know what's really funny is, you know, you have the legend himself, Dan Inosanto, sticks. I always sometimes forget that Steven Seagal's on his knees the whole fight. Mm-hmm. The whole entire fight when he's fighting with sticks, he's still on the ground. And a lot of people don't realize that. Like, he's still on his knees. Mm. Even with all the stick fighting, Seagal's still on his knees, which is kind of impressive. But I just, you know, love this movie. It's gritty, it's dark, it's violent, it's fun. And I'm pretty sure the prostitute sequence walking up to the car, you wanna fuck? And then Seagal starts laughing hysterically. I'm pretty sure that was a real prostitute.
Yeah, I don't think that was scripted.
Which makes it even more funny when you watch the movie. But yeah, this is one of Seagal's best, one of my favorites, and I will pass it to Rick.
Yes, I'm going to read from the Book of Rick. There's an entire section on Seagal in this particular Book of Rick. And the rumor is intriguing. Arguably the most powerful man in Hollywood of 1987 was Michael Ovitz, agent extraordinaire. Some have said that he was learning Aikido from a man named Steven Seagal. Some have written that a man named Steven Seagal was serving as Ovitz's bodyguard. In either case, shortly after Ovitz reportedly arranged to secure the director and star of Lethal Weapon for Warner Brothers, the story goes that the agent strongly suggested that they consider making his Aikido teacher and or bodyguard their next action star. Whether or not this story is true, a very entertaining movie called Above the Law premiered in 1988. It starred a 36-year-old Aikido expert named Steven Seagal, who was absolutely fascinating to watch. Aikido seemed designed for American action movies since it took the roundhouse punch that had been the U.S. fight choreographer's stock in trade for more than 50 years and turned it back on itself. It was the hand-to-hand equivalent of a wild mouse roller coaster, spinning the antagonists in tight, fast, vicious circles. Unlike some other so-called American martial art movie stars, it was instantly apparent to audiences that this guy, whoever he was, knew what he was doing. So that's his origin. Above the Law, he became more and more involved in his filmmaking. He went through a bunch of stuff, but he was getting angrier and angrier at the way he was being used by Warner Brothers and by the producers of the movies. He wanted to be in control of them. They wanted to be in control. And they did a documentary on which one of his movies, let's see, where he really went public. Yeah, The Making of Hard to Kill, which showed a frustrated Seagal complaining about the studio's apparent lack of cooperation with the actor and writer's vision. So he was back in the producer's chair for Marked for Death, and then it was his weakest film because they had the most problems on it. So he said, to rectify the problems, he returned to the screenwriter role for a new movie he called The Price of Our Blood. The studio, however, didn't want to lose the catchy three-word titles of his filmography, so when the movie reached cinemas in 1991, it was titled Out for Justice. So do you want everybody else to talk about it, or you want me to talk about the movie now, too?
Go ahead, Rick.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you're here. Go ahead. What thoughts on the movie?
It was basically, it was The Price of Our Blood. It was it reminds me of my first science fiction book I originally called The Sound of Silent Thunder, but when it came out, it was called Doomstar. So I sort of recognized what Seagal was trying to do. It was a very busy 24 hours in the life of a Brooklyn cop. It's aptly named. In fact, Seagal interrupts the credit sequence to hurl an abusive pimp through the windshield of his own Cadillac. And that sets the tone. It's one. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
It
the
is
zone right there.
one.
Yeah.
It is one setup for a fight, one fight after another, and as such, it's the one where Steven Seagal was most in control of his own filmography up until that time, and it culminates in an amazing sequence. I would have loved. John Flynn was a very good director. He was originally a protege of the great film director Robert Wise, who made The Sound of Music, West Side Story, The Day the Earth Stood Still, and many other The Andromeda Strain. One of the most versatile directors in history, and John Flynn was his protege. So John Flynn did a bunch of really strong movies that were produced by Robert Wise. But this was coming closer to the end of his career, and some say this is the movie that broke John Flynn's back. He sort of went, I'm not doing this anymore. Not after having worked with this gentleman who doesn't listen to me, causes all sorts of trouble.
I'm a saint.
But
I'm a saint.
the casting director was brilliant because they got William Forsythe, who was a lunatic in his own right, which led to that final sequence, the climactic sequence, saving the best for last. He finally corners the villain in a tenement kitchen, and then very carefully, very methodically, takes him apart in a series of master shots, camera angles that take in the entire room, so you can see his every move and every result of those moves. And Forsythe took all of them.
Yeah.
I cannot spot a stunt person.
Yeah, it's insane.
He just wipes the floor with them. Forsythe was willing to bow down to Seagal and not fight back really in any other way, just be a punching bag. And it would be, after that, it appeared that Seagal knew he would be forever relegated to the subcellar of chop sake movies if he didn't make a change. And that's what led to the next movie we're talking about. But yes, Out for Justice was the best movie of the Seagal era.
All right.
Carry on, everybody.
All right, really quick before we go to Lindsay. Rick, can you briefly answer this question?
Yes.
Thank you, John, for the super chat. Thanks for donating to the show. John's asked, explain the difference between ninja and kung fu films. Do ninjas practice kung fu?
No!
With so many films of both kinds of films, how do you tell them apart? Thoughts on Only the Strong, really quick.
You tell them, you tell them apart the same way you tell Burger King and McDonald's apart.
Yeah.
The same way you tell football and baseball apart. Yeah. Basically, martial arts is fighting. Martial arts is Japanese, Korean, Malaysian, Thai, fighting arts. Kung Fu, as we translate, again, I'm always doing this. I believe you can still watch it on Amazon Prime. My movie, Films of Fury, the Kung Fu movie, which is the reason I went from great martial art movies to Films of Fury, the Kung Fu movie book, and Films of Fury, the Kung Fu movie. And in Films of Fury, the Kung Fu movie, we define Kung Fu, the word, as human achievement. It's also defined sometimes as hard work, concerted effort, good work. We decided, on the basis of bringing in all our Chinese friends, to translate the actual calligraphy as human achievement. Kung Fu is a self-improvement system where the ability to defend yourself comes as a side effect. Martial arts is one thing, fighting. Kung Fu is at least 6 things. So and ninja, I also sorry. I also studied ninja in Japan. I also met Frank Dux. I also met Stephen Hayes. I know all these guys. I wrote 12 Ninja Master novels.
Oh, wow.
They're still my best-selling books.
Okay.
These sold 250,000 copies. There are 8 of them. And so I know ninja very well. I know ninja movies very well.
Yes.
Sorry, here we go again.
All right. I'll answer the last question. Only the Strong is great. Love it. All right. Lindsay. Okay.
I was horrified and ashamed that you guys didn't involve me in the ninja movie stuff because you only talk about American ninja movies, which sucked.
Oh.
That's why we didn't invite you, Rick.
They do. They're not ninja. I'm sorry. Shinobi no Mono, which was made by the Japanese, which is the most historically accurate and authentic of the ninja movies, I did the audio commentary on. So in any case, the difference is ninja, especially American ninja movies, are the McDonald's of martial arts.
Right.
And
Right.
they're Japanese, and Kung Fu is Chinese.
Okay.
I had a friend who said, and I'd like to know. I asked our host here about it when he was on my program. But I had a friend who said ninja movies are the hair metal of martial arts movies. What would you?
The American ninja movies.
I appreciate his sentiment, but for me, the whole story of ninja movies is that Golden Globus ripped off the guys who produced Jaws. They were going to make an authentic grade A movie based on Eric von Lustbader's novel The Ninja, and Enter the Ninja stole their thunder. And from then on, it was always just whatever the producers want to do.
Right. Well, Ian, I did. We celebrated Revenge of the Ninja, but I did mention Shinobi no Mono, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Aha, Rick. All right.
Yes,
Popcorn Planet in the house. He says, Under Siege all day long.
Yeah,
Shout out to Popcorn Planet. Oh, and down here, hold on a second. The Kung Fu Genius says, Revenge of the Ninja is a national treasure, Rick.
Yes. I have to agree. Love Revenge of the Ninja.
All right. No more. Lindsay, Out for Justice. Go ahead.
Out for Justice is probably, when you think of Seagal's earlier career, this is the movie that a lot of people first think of. It's brutal, it's gritty, it's full of just blood and violence and bad language and posturing and all this kind of stuff, and it's just balls to the wall the whole time. It's like machismo on the screen. That's all it is, And once it starts, like he said before, that pimp's head goes through the front of the car, and it's like, all right, strap in, let's go, and it doesn't stop. So I've always loved this movie. I think it's great, and the level of violence and insanity. I mean, you've got William Forsythe in a car just sucking on a crack pipe. And then he goes and shoots that woman in the head. I mean, it's crazy, bonkers action. One of the most violent movies, especially out of the 80s. I love it. It's great.
Nice. Very well said. Awesome. Oh, Omegon32. We got a brand new channel member. That's right. Certified badass. Thank you, sir. You rock. You are awesome. That's right. You're one of the elite. Speaking of elite, Owen, Out for Justice.
Nice segue. This is one of my absolute favorite Seagal films, and was the first one that I saw, actually, and then I went back and watched Above the Law. But to me, this is still his finest hour. I still want to have a friend called Styx. It bothers me that I've never met anybody called Styx, because I love him as a character. And also, how can you not love a movie when the protagonist is called Gino Felino? I mean, it's the best character name. So gotta love that. And then just Seagal's just swagger, just the way he just walks around, nobody can touch him. Is this a setting for profanity? When anybody swears at him, and that whole like Richie scene. Anybody seen Richie? That's my favorite ever Seagal scene. It's like the most badass scene he's ever done. Yeah. The only other scene, which I'll be talking about tomorrow night, will be the scene in On Deadly Ground where what does it take to change the essence of a man?
Oh man.
But
what do you say? I need time to change.
He punches the racism out of that guy.
Yeah, he totally does. He's like, you're the guy with the big balls. I'm the cupcake. I never considered him a cupcake. But anyway, so love this. Love William Forsythe. And William Forsythe terrified me in this whenever I was younger watching it. I thought he was just unhinged and unpredictable. And the scene where you mentioned where he shoots the woman in the car, even to this day, it's still shocking. And I get laughed at for saying this, but it almost has a sort of Martin Scorsese level feel to it, just where it's got that level of graphic violence. You wouldn't be surprised to see somebody like De Niro choking somebody with a phone in the background or something. But yeah, absolutely love this one, and I suppose it's time to show you my prized possession is the autographed Laserdisc to own. Oh my love, Steven Seagal.
He blow it up. All right, there we go. Blew it up.
Oh.
One more time.
There you go.
All my love.
All my love. We're that close.
That's amazing.
So that's my prized possession that hangs up over there. So I have a photo of me with him over there as well. It's pre-beard.
Copy that.
And it's funny, everyone says bad things about him, but he was really nice to me. So I got nothing bad to say about him.
He didn't hit you like he's hit some other people.
No, he didn't punch me in the chest or anything, and I was thankful for that. So it didn't pimp slap me or anything. So I was like, all right, that's fine. So he seemed pretty chill.
Really love you? I don't know. He may have been lying.
Maybe, yeah.
All right. Ian.
Yeah.
Alpha Justice.
Well, it's difficult to know where to begin on this. I mean, his first 4 or 5, even 6 films, I thought were really good films. And Out for Justice was kind of his crowning achievement. There are many reasons why I like the film. One is the bad guy. I mean, your movie really is only as good as the bad guy. And the bad guy in this film came off as a legit psycho. And so it was scary. It was truly scary. The Aikido that Seagal does is called Tenshin Aikido. And in his previous films, you can almost go through the moves. You can go, oh, it's Ikkyo, Nikkyo, Sankyo, Yankyo. You can go through those moves. As if you're a martial artist, you're watching it, you can spot him out. On this one, he strays a little bit and gets a little bit more violent. And at the time, I wasn't sure, but I heard that he was practicing Wing Chun, or he was learning some Wing Chun on the side. You can see him throwing some lower level kicks where he breaks a guy's knee that looks a little Wing Chun-y. And then, of course, there's that scene where he throws something that looks similar to chain punches. And I had heard that he was learning from, this is a long time ago, before the internet was exploding. And he was learning from Randy Williams, who was a famous Wing Chun guy at one time. But I'm not sure if that's true or not. I have no idea. So Alex Richter would actually know if that's true or not. And
he would know, yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, Danny and Santo in it. I mean, as a JKD guy myself, how could you not love that Danny and Santo was in the film? So I love the film, and I love that. I mean, the guy is just like, this is my last day on Earth. I'm going to go out and just live it up. I'm going to murder and whatever I want to do. And Steven Seagal is the guy who stops him. Yeah. The guy who wins him. So I loved it. Loved the show.
Awesome. All right. Under Siege, the very next year, 1992. Plot synopsis. An ex-Navy SEAL turned cook is the only person who can stop a group of terrorists when they seize control of a U.S. battleship. Directed by Andrew Davis. That's right. And a great cast in this as well. We got Gary Busey and Tommy Lee Jones. And a lot of other people in here as well. You have Damian Chapa in here. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Erica Eleniak. That's everyone's favorite, obviously. But yeah, Under Siege, man. Another just, look, we all know Die Hard is a 5-star movie, okay? Die Hard is phenomenal. But if you can get close, if you can get 70% as good as Die Hard, it's all good with me, man. So it's okay. It's not all bad that you're labeled a Die Hard clone. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's a lot worse out there, but this is definitely one of the best. Might be the best. Between this and Sudden Death, I know Rick's answer. Owen, because you got the Sudden Death poster back there. Between this and Sudden Death, Owen, which was the better Die Hard clone?
To
you.
See, I love Powers Booth. So Powers Booth wins over all, but now see, you put me in the spot now.
That's what I do.
I gotta get back to me. I'll say Under Siege. There we go.
Okay.
I will say that, but yeah.
But yeah, whoever came up with this concept of the most badass, violent killer soldier of all time, but he's also a cook, is brilliant. This is brilliant. And out of all the 5 billion straight-to-video Seagal movies that he did that had the term kill or die in it, Man, just keep making Casey fucking Ryback movies, man.
I was
I'm
gonna say,
stunned.
you gotta
Yeah.
call him by his full name, Casey fucking Ryback.
That's right.
That's his middle name. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I would have preferred like 5 more of these movies just for fun. Right? Under Siege 3, he's on the plane, or I don't know. Let's have some fun with it. Let's get ridiculous.
I got the story.
Okay, I'm almost done. But
Okay.
yeah, love the cast, love the action sequences. I actually like. Does anyone here on this panel not like the end knife fight?
What? Could you put that in the positive?
No, I'm curious because there's there's
I
some
love
people.
the knife fight. I love the
Okay,
knife fight.
I
Yeah.
do too.
Yeah.
Mostly because it was a surprise. I wasn't expecting Tommy Lee Jones to be
No.
throwing down like that. I was like, "What the hell?" I thought it was a fun knife fight. But I just had to ask if anyone didn't like the knife
Did
fight.
you ever meet anybody who didn't like it?
I know someone,
Oh,
and
really?
he's on the video vote. So I'll play it. I'll play it later. Yeah, that's why I asked the question.
Wow.
I asked the question, but if compare the knife fight in this to the knife fight in Under Siege 2, even though I like Under Siege 2, the knife fight in Under Siege 2 was like that was it. So I mean, I enjoy
Once
it.
of all time.
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. Look, she's beautiful. I get it, but she really annoyed me in this movie. She was really annoying. Luckily, though, the saving grace for the character. I got no issues with the looks, but this, saving grace for the character. At least they had her do some shit
Yeah.
at the end, and she kicked
goes
ass. I was like,
developed,
okay,
yeah.
thank God. I was like, thank God they're having her do something. But yeah, great cast, a lot of action, love it, great stuff. Rick Myers, go ahead.
There we go. Well, what happened was Warner's figured that they could do better with him, but this is not, in my mind, in the basis of cinema history, this is not a Steven Seagal movie, which is why you don't get parts 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is an Andy Davis movie.
Okay.
This movie is the story of Andrew Davis, who was one of the great action directors who was fated to work in The Subcellar. He directed Above the Law. And he tried to go off and do other things. And the other things, The Package with Gene Hackman, didn't work. So he had to come back to Warner's with his tail between his legs and said, let's team you up with a guy who you did really well. He also did Code of Silence. He did the best Chuck Norris movie. He did, and he did some great stuff after that. So in any case, they found a script by a guy named J.F. Lawton, which had the concept of the ex-agent with, well, actually it just had a chef on the ship. Davis hired Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey to play villains.
Oh.
Then Seagal, once he was cast, he started throwing his weight around. And so he fought every development that brought it into a more classy area. It was terrorists take over something big so a lone little man can save the day plotline. The little man was a disgraced ex-Navy SEAL who had become a battleship cook. According to an article by the scripter, Mr. Lawton, it was Tommy Lee Jones's idea to disguise himself as a rock singer, while it was Gary Busey's idea who chose to kill the captain of the ship while dressed in drag. Seagal's contribution was twofold. First, he insisted that a Playboy bunny appear in a cake.
For cinematography purposes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his contribution. And his next contribution during the casting session, and I've had this corroborated because I also worked for Playboy for a while, in the comic section, in the comic strip section in the back, but I got to meet everybody involved. Seagal wouldn't let Erica Leniak be cast until she had a boob job.
Really?
Wow.
That's what I've been told by more than one source.
That's insane.
Well, it's something that Jean-Claude Van Damme learned, and he did some of that himself in his subsequent movies to be more like successful people. But Seagal was known for doing this, and apparently, I mean, again, I heard that Van Damme would ask for favors from his co-stars before he cast them. And the rumor was that Seagal asked Erica as well, I do not know if she succumbed, but there's probably a good reason why she was degraded in the film, because she wasn't nice to Papa off camera. So
Yikes.
that's a shame. However, Andy Davis was still in charge. And also I noticed, and maybe you can also corroborate this, there's really less Aikido than ever before. And they make up for it with big booms and many, many bullets.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the apex and the most successful film of Seagal's career. And as an Andy Davis movie, it's awesome. As a Seagal movie, I'm kind of sorry that they cast him in this. I wish they had cast someone else in Under Siege so Andy Davis could have had a happy ending. And he kind of did. He did The Fugitive.
Yeah.
But I would have been happier ultimately if Seagal had been relegated to his three-word title movies and done more
Gotcha.
with Aikido
Mm-hmm.
rather than
Right.
taste the high life.
That's a good point, Rick. There is more.
That's a good
There is more guns ablazing than martial arts in this.
And the knife fight is awesome.
Yeah.
And also, because Seagal had major people up against him, major other actors, he couldn't influence them as much as he could influence the other not as famous
Right.
stars and other things.
Well, how are you going to influence this guy?
Yeah,
I don't think Gary Busey is going to take any of your shit.
and neither is Tommy Lee Jones.
No, not at all.
So it made an excellent movie, but again, it's an Andy Davis movie to me.
Gotcha. All right,
It's
Lindsay.
excellent, but it's Andy Davis.
I would agree with most of those points. I mean, this is a fun. It's a blockbuster action movie, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not the gritty stuff from like the 80s. This is a 90s blockbuster action film. A lot less hand-to-hand combat, more guns, and a majority of the plot doesn't center around him. Whereas in Out for Justice, he's very much involved personally with the plot. Because we're getting all this, we're in the war room and there's nukes and all the SEAL team coming. There's a lot more moving parts in this movie than there is with Out for Justice. I I will defend a little bit of Erica Laniak's role in this, even beyond her helping, because throughout the film, she's asking questions and he's explaining stuff to her, and that is giving us so much information about what's going on within the film. So she's serving as that conduit between him and the audience to let us know what the hell's going on in the movie, you know? So, I mean, her character does have a little more worth than just the one time that she shoots the guy before he can kill Seagal. So I will defend her that much, but no, she is quite annoying for a majority of it. But I mean, you have, like I said, Gary Busey. You got Tommy Lee Jones. This is actually the first Seagal movie I ever saw. Yes, that scene is great. and you do get some good kills. I mean, you get the guy who has the beam fall on him. You get the guy with his throat ripped out. You get some cool sequences. Not as much as you do with Out for Justice, but overall, it's a blockbuster action movie, and I can appreciate it for that. It's a good all-around action film.
Nice. Owen.
Yes. This is another good one. Like Rick said, it's sort of, it's an action movie, a big blockbuster, but I do prefer the sort of smaller scale movies like Out for Justice and Above the Law, where he's just going around and he's just bitch slapping everybody and just throwing his weight around. So I do enjoy it. I love Gary Busey in drag. That makes any movie worth watching. Tommy Lee Jones as the villain is great. There's some good action. And also, as Bob Owenson's in here, Colin Meaney is in it, and it's nice to see him as well. I do love him. And it's good action scenes. And Seagal has some weird line delivery in this. Like my buddy Alex will always comment if someone posts something, he'll always just say, "What kind of babbling bullshit is this?" She says, and then "Gunner's mate." She's just like, well, why are you saying it like that? So it's sort of a strange character, but I have to be honest. Of the two movies, I actually watch Under Siege 2 more. I find that more entertaining, maybe for the wrong reasons, just because
Yeah.
it's
fun.
It's just a fun movie. You got
Yeah,
everyone just saying how amazing he is. Who's my instructor for Bragg? He's the best there is, and it's just Seagal's ego. But yeah, this is still a fun movie. Like I said, I don't watch it as much as the second one or some of his other movies, but still a solid action movie and a good Die Hard clone.
Nice. All right, Ian.
Well, it's been underscored a few times, but I want to repeat it because it is the main difference, I think, between the two films, and that is that Out for Justice is a martial arts film where this is an action film. And it's an action film that features martial arts because it features Steven Seagal, but it's really an action film that just has martial arts in it because of Steven Seagal. And as I said before, a movie is only as good as its villain. And while I thought Gary Busey did a really interesting job, and Tommy Lee Jones did an excellent job too, but he came off, in my opinion, a tad too comical, where the bad guy in Out for Justice came out just psycho realistic.
Scary.
And I was like, yeah, scary realistic. Of course, as an action film, it's a great action film. I love it. And I love the martial arts that are in it. And it's been underscored before. And I just want to repeat it for sake of emphasis that there's a lot less Aikido in it. It's more, there's a few scenes, but for the most part, you got the knife fighting and stuff like that. Where in his earlier films, you could really almost call out, if you know Aikido, you can call out the moves, especially in Marked for Death. In Marked for Death, it's like straight over, the moves. He just keeps going through them. And we used to go to the movie theater and call them out, as I'm sure it annoyed the hell out of everybody, but we called them out as we saw them. So this is just an action film. It's a good action film. It's a great action film, but it's not a martial arts film. It's just a really good action film that happens to have martial arts in it.
Nice. You know what? There is one. I have a little nitpicky negative I'll mention. I didn't like the way Gary Busey died. Gary Busey should have had an up and close and personal type death.
It was a little anticlimactic.
Yeah, it was almost like, oh, he's dead. But
yeah, and you have two
it.
bad guys kind of in that one too. You know what I mean? Like two main villains that one of them doesn't get the attention that he deserves, I think, with what you're saying.
And the best part of the movie is this.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, it is time to vote. Let's go ahead and get the video votes, the special guest video votes out of the way. Somebody in comments, I think it was Will, mentioned that Scenic Fights hated the knife fight. Scenic Fights is an extremely popular YouTube channel. Like, they have billions of followers, and they hated it. But one of the things that I like about it, though, is that it's chaotic. You know what I mean? That's what I like about that fight with him and Tommy Lee Jones. Is that it's not like dun. Like, it's just it's like chaotic. And a real knife fight is probably going to be kind of chaotic. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I like it. But to each his own. All right, here we go. First vote from Finkster here.
Hey, what's up, Fat Samurai Guy? Furious Fink here, a.k.a. Finkster. Just wanted to send a quick video to offer my thoughts on Under Siege and Out for Justice. Sorry I'm not able to join you guys tonight. I would love to join in on the debate and the discussion of these two movies, especially since it was my first time seeing both of these movies. I actually grew up more on Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bruce Lee movies. Never was allowed to watch Steven Seagal. They were too violent for my father's tastes at the time. So it was interesting getting to circle back to these, and Steven Seagal has always been an interesting character, to say the least. Quick thoughts on Out for Justice. Definitely a dirty, gritty movie. Lots of awesome violence. I would like to know, why is it that Bobby says, "Poor Bobby," when Bobby is dying? That really caught us off guard. Me and Emily were watching that together, and she said, Did Bobby just say "poor Bobby"? Isn't that his name? So I have no idea what was going on there, and there never seems to be any explanation for why he would say, "Poor me, I've been shot." Otherwise, that was a pretty straightforward movie. Steven Seagal not a dog person. Clearly not a dog person. Because he threw the dog into the car just like old laundry at one point. And I don't know if you had noticed, there's even a point where they include in the dialogue that he had straight up forgotten about the dog that was in the car. And this is after he's at the bar beating a bunch of people up. And like hours go by and he says, "Oh, I forgot you were here, dog." The end of the movie, of course, they had to throw in the obligatory, "Oh, he's going to pee on his head, isn't he?" Yep, peed on his head. Enjoyed it. Under Siege, first time watch. I would say definitely higher production value. Jordan Tate, Miss July, 89. Very memorable Tates. Beyond that, Tommy Lee Jones was incredible in it. But and the action was better overall. But it lost me about halfway through the movie. Because halfway through the movie, I felt like it had gotten so convoluted that I was no longer with it. I liked that they had thrown in a little background explaining who he was, but it ended up raising more questions in the end about the plot, and it blew my mind that they would ask, "Hey, you know this guy, Ryback? Yeah, I know Ryback. He's the shit. I would love to have him helping us right now. Oh, he might actually be on the ship. What? He's on the ship? Oh, by the way, yeah, I should know that because I knew the captain and I knew we hired him as the chef for like the last 20 years. Yeah, so not sure why I'm surprised by the fact that we might be able to use him right now. Also, the mapping of the action became confusing when the submarine was split away from the Missouri. I didn't understand what was going on with the rounds that were being shot back and forth. I didn't realize that they had actually created enough distance that they could be shooting at each other. So, like, the last 30 minutes of the movie was kind of a clusterfuck for me. Verdict. Out for Justice. Nice little trapping sequence with William Forsythe at the end. Love the cameo by Dan Inosanto. I gotta say that as good as Tommy Lee Jones was in Under Siege, that knife fight was stupid. And I couldn't get behind the idea of Steven Seagal being such a badass that he literally bites a butcher knife, and that's how he wins a knife fight. Not a good tactic. All right. I hope to catch you guys again. Take it easy, everyone.
Come on,
He's really good points.
He's Casey fucking Ryback. All right, we got Big Tony.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Mr. Tony of the Dead here, and I'm very sorry I can't be there tonight. This was a very tough choice, to be honest, because my first instinct was like, oh, Under Siege, no problem. But after careful consideration, I'm going to have to go with Out for Justice, because it might not have a topless Erica Eleniak, or however you say her name, but it does have a greasy William Forsythe and an awesome bar fight. So my vote goes for Out for Justice.
Greasy for the win. All right. Big Aaron.
True. So this is Aaron here from the Cult of Cinema. And my choice is Out for Justice. Because basically, to be totally honest with you, William Forsythe, as much as I like Erica Leniak, and I do, she's quite interesting, but William Forsythe as a bad guy, gotta be a winner.
I'm noticing a pattern here.
I know, right? And my samurai brother.
Hey guys, Viking Samurai here. Out for Justice versus Under Siege. Seagal's fourth film versus his fifth. You really can't go wrong with either one. Like, a lot of people really talk about the first four Steven Seagal films, and those are known as the Golden Age, at least in the Seagology book. But I really think you gotta go with the top five, or the first five, rather, that are really great, because Under Siege is right up there. In a lot of ways, actually better than a couple of those in the top four, in my opinion, or the first four. I keep saying top four. But honestly, his films are almost in that order in a lot of ways, the way it came out. But Under Siege, Casey Ryback, iconic character, fun story, great enemies, right? Great antagonists with Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey. They were really fun to get together, really funny together, actually. But I think I got to give my vote for Out for Justice. To me, like both films have equal rewatchability. They're both a lot of fun. But Out for Justice is more like signature Seagal, what he's known for, the bone crunching, the hard, visceral, more of the tough guy. I mean, Ryback is too, but Out for Justice is just more of that signature Seagal, and it's more memorable in a lot of ways. So, Under Siege is where he went mainstream, but I think for a lot of true Seagal fans, you really got to go with Out for Justice. So that's my vote.
All right, Rick.
Oh, there we go. Finally. Okay. Under Siege is the better film. Out for Justice is the better movie. And if you're talking about Seagal movies, it's got to be Out for Justice.
All right, Lindsay.
But when you first approached me about this, I was like, ooh, that's going to be such a hard decision. Well, then I went back and watched them because I had watched Out for Justice this year, but it had been a while since I'd sat down and rewatched Under Siege. And between these movies, you're really getting two different Seagals. And I think that's where the separation is. And when I put on a Steven Seagal movie, I just want to see him kick the shit out of people, and that's what he does in Out for Justice. And William Forsythe, and he blows a guy's leg off. I mean, come on, it's just awesome. It's so much fun. I have to pick Out for Justice.
All right, Owen.
Out for Justice all the way for me, obviously, because I have the same thing. But yeah, everything about Out for Justice is superior to me. It's just the better hand-to-hand combat, more violent. William Forsythe, the pool hall scene or the bar scene, whatever you call it, is one of my favorites and is still my favorite Seagal fight scene like ever. So Out for Justice all the way.
All right, Ian.
I think it's going to be a clean sweep here. Out for Justice.
How do you know?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Out for Justice, really, all the way. I mean, everything everybody's already said. I would just say it again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a better martial arts movie for one. And really, like I said before, and I really think that's the biggest difference, is one's an action movie that has martial arts, and one's a martial arts movie, and a good martial arts movie too. It's not just a film that every once in a while there's going to be martial arts, and we got to write some story so we can show martial arts. It is actually a good movie as well. So Out for Justice all the way for me.
All right, Samurai Guy is voting for Under.
Oh man, unanimous.
I know. I know.
The public said.
I know. I think when I think of Seagal, I think of Out for Justice. As much fun as Casey fucking Ryback is, when you think Seagal in his prime, it's Out for Justice, man. There's that's just how it is. Now the internet poll, and again, Ian, as you pointed out, this was 31 episodes we've done in Versus so far. There's only one out of all these episodes where we had a clean sweep. So we actually have a clean sweep tonight again, which is crazy, which is usually never happens. So it's pretty nuts. But yeah, the internet poll, I'm not surprised at all. And to be honest, I'm actually surprised Out for Justice won. I thought I was going to be the only guy voting for Out for Justice. All right, here we go.
Oh, wow.
What?
Look at that.
I think the thing that's keeping Under Siege buoyant is Erica Eleniak. In so many words.
Well, there's some good cinematography there, but yeah, this was a blast. Again, I'm not surprised with that vote. So, but yeah, always fun hanging out with the Martial Arts Kung Fu Avengers. This was a lot of fun as usual every week. Lindsay, hey. Whenever you get some free time, come back for some future episodes.
This is so much fun.
Ian as well. Owen, Owen, you're part of the Versus crew now. Like we've kidnapped you. You just don't know it. But yeah, Rick, always an honor to have Kung Fu Santa here. And don't forget to subscribe to Lindsay, Ian, follow Owen, and follow Rick. That's right, Film Action Autopsy. That's right, baby. This is a lot of fun. Tomorrow, just really quick segue. Tomorrow, all you sci-fi fans, and I thought I had it queued up here. I don't have it queued up. Oh, well, damn it. Well, join Samurai tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Tomorrow, we're going to have Luke Spark here, the director of the sci-fi action flicks, Occupation and Occupation Rainfall. We're going to have fun talking about those tomorrow. So sci-fi fans, show up and hang out with Samurai Guy tomorrow. And as always, if you're new here, we appreciate you watching. And don't forget to like, share this video, and
That's awesome.
yeah, baby, that's how we do it. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks for
See
having
you
me
later.
on.
Thank you.